Hello, Miss Lancaster's kindergarten class. My name is Tamara. I'm Kahlo's mommy. I'm so excited to be reading this book for you today. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kahlo. All right, this is one of our favorite books. It's called The Cloud Spinner. We read this book very often. I really love the pictures and I really love the story, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it too. Okay, so let's start. The Cloud Spinner. And it is written by Michael Catchpole and illustrated by Allison J. There was once a boy who could weave cloth from the clouds. He had a spinning wheel and a loom on top of a hill. As the clouds passed with a whir of the wheel, he would spin them into thread. Gold in the morning with the rising sun, white in the afternoon, and crimson in the evening, just as his mother had taught him. Then, with a clickety-clack of his loom, he would weave the thread into cloth. As he worked, he sang a simple tune his mother had taught him. Enough is enough, and not one stitch more. The boy was wise. He spun just enough thread and wove just enough cloth to make 2 scarves, one of pure white he wore over his head when it was hot to protect him from the sun. And other he wore when it was cold. It was a twist and twirl of gold and white and crimson, soft as a mouse's touch and warm as roasted chestnuts. His mother had taught him well. Look at this great little scarf. One chilly market day, the boy walked down the hill, a basket in his hand and his scarf around his neck. The market was full of great excitement. The king was on his way. There's the king on his horse. Soon the king rode grandly by, hardly noticing the curtsies and cheers. But what his greedy eyes did notice was the wonderful scarf of gold and white and crimson. So there he is. Tell me, boy, where can I get a scarf such fine cloth? Nowhere on earth, the boy replied. Then how did you get yours? Snapped the king. I made it, said the boy. Then you will make another for me. A longer one, much longer, for I am the king. But the boy said, It would not be wise to have a long scarf made from this cloth. Your Majesty does not need it. How dare you tell me what is wise, shouted the king. I order you to make me my scarf. What a rude king. So the boy went home to the top of the hill, and with a whir of the wheel he began to spin. He spun the clouds as they passed in the morning and were gold with the rising sun. He spun the afternoon as the clouds sailed past, white as snowdrifts. He spun in the evening when the clouds were crimson. Then, with a clickety-clack of the loom, he wove the thread into a long, long scarf. The king was overjoyed. His scarf was so soft as a mouse's touch, and warm as roasted chestnuts. "Now make me a cloak of this glorious cloth," he ordered, "and dresses galore for the queen and my daughter, the princess." But the boy shook his head. "It would not be wise to have so many clothes made from this cloth. Your Majesty does not need them." The king's face was a twist of scowls. "I want those clothes, and I order you to make them." So the boy went home to the top of the hill, and with a whir of the wheel, he began to spin. He spun the clouds as they passed in the morning and were gold with the rising sun. He spun in the afternoon as the clouds sailed past, white as snowdrifts. He spun, and it got harder and harder, for soon there were fewer and fewer clouds. At last, with a clickety-clack of the loom, the boy began to weave the thread into cloth beneath cloudless sky. And as he worked, he sadly sang, "Enough is enough, and not one stitch more." The king was delighted. He put on the wonderful cloak, and the queen and the princess each put on a beautiful flowing dress. "Surely," he boasted, "there is no other king as magnificent and wise as me." "Not one," said the queen. The princess said nothing. That's the princess and the boy. She's wearing her new dress. That's the king and the queen in their new clothes. But day after day, as they wore their marvelous clothes, not one drop of rain fell from the cloudless sky. "Your Majesty," pleaded the villagers, "our animals are thirsty and our crops are all dying." "There's nothing I can do," shouted the king, walking this way and that, his cloak trailing behind him. "Why are you moaning to me?" The princess said nothing. Look at how angry he is. But that evening she quietly slipped out of the palace. She wore a simple dress, and in her arms was a bundle, soft as a mouse's touch and warm as roasted chestnuts. She crossed the dry, dusty gardens and the brown fields beyond, and climbed to the top of the hill. There's the princess carrying her bundle. Stepping forward, she knocked at the boy's door. Is it too late to undo what has been done? The boy smiled and said simply, "There's still time." So he started undoing the clothes and releasing the clouds. When the king awoke the next morning, he could not find his wonderful cloak. The queen could not find her beautiful dresses. They searched the palace for clothes that the boy had made, but they were gone. While outside, the villagers danced for joy as the rain began to fall from the clouds in the sky. It rained and rained and rained. The king and the queen looked out and wondered. And the princess, with a smile as bright as a rainbow, stood on top of the hill and sang, "Enough is enough, and not one stitch more." The end. I hope you enjoyed this really beautiful book, The Cloud Spinner, and I hope it shows you a lesson between what you need and what you want. The king was greedy in what he wanted, but it was not what he needed, and the boy was wise, and so was the princess. Well, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day in school, and soon enough you'll be able to read books to me. Bye-bye.